to our colleagues from abroad, I will have my presentation in English language. My name is Boris Sučić and I'm coming from Slovenia. Oh, I think that I have a mic so you can hear me much better. Good afternoon, my name is Boris Sučić and I'm coming from Slovenia. Jožef Stefan Institute, that is the biggest and the most advanced technological institute in Slovenia. The title of my today's presentation is Challenges in Combining Different Methods and Tools for Improving Performance Monitoring in Buildings. The whole idea raised due to the requirements of energy managers from Slovenian municipalities who tried to conduct various analyses regarding the energy performance of the building portfolio in their municipalities. And they wanted to have a tool or combination of tools and methods to start with energy efficiency improvement in their municipalities. Our common challenge is reduction of energy consumption in building. The biggest challenge is how the city, region, state can promote greater adoption of new and efficient technologies by end consumers. If we check the international standards, it is clear, and the formula is quite simple, but in practice it is not so simple at all. The biggest mistake, what we have discovered in our research work, the biggest mistake is copy-paste planning. Methods and tools that are working in some environments are not applicable in others. Our idea at the beginning of our research work, we asked ourselves, do we really know what we are doing? We have realized that there is a really big lack of data. Energy auditing at that moment was a logical step forward because at the beginning, energy manager and certain municipalities, they didn't have any kind of data regarding the portfolio of buildings in the municipalities. Usually people ask me, who is the energy manager? Energy manager is the guy who has to bridge the gap between theory and practice. He's the one, besides the building operational managers, he's the one who has to help end users to reach sustainable energy savings. The ultimate goal of all energy audits that were conducted were identifying the opportunities for reduction of energy consumption. From the end user point of view, the idea was to find a way how to verify energy savings and to provide an active support for the building operators. Our starting point as a research institute was we actually realized if we are starting to collect tons of data, we don't see that as dehumanization, but it simply means that we want to establish the performance standards which are necessary element of modern living. On this slide, I put a really nice sentence from Lord Kelvin who said, when you can measure what you are speaking about, then you can optimize that. And afterwards, we asked ourselves, are there actually universally applicable solutions? In many cases, we are forgetting about the context of energy use. I have heard today that our colleagues from Denmark, they are usually speaking about energy communities. In our former country, we had negative experiences with collectivization. So it is very hard to implement the energy communities in our countries because once we were pushed in the collectivization, and today we want to be individual as much as possible. That is the reason why whenever we are speaking about energy efficiency in buildings, we have to really take care about the context of energy use. Regarding the energy performance of building and energy certification of buildings, the key of that story are hidden. The key is hidden in key performance indicators. From the policy point of view, when we are speaking about municipalities, there is a challenge to link the real energy consumption with the governmental financial supports, and also provide proper training for building managers and tailor-made campaigns for the building users. For instance, you may have as advanced system as you want, people will always find a way how to obey that system and how to find a way to adapt the situation according to their needs. And that was the operational point of view, which is crucial to find the way how to properly present real consumption data, because many times we are speaking about, for instance, when we are speaking about certification, on EU level we discovered that there is a problem that the data from the certificate is not accurate. The people actually don't believe in that data and they are not ready to accept it. So we discovered, or we identified that there is a need to combine different methods and tools. We decided in this presentation, in this research paper, we decided to combine two different models. One is energy cost center based modeling. It is a method provided by two distinguished gentlemen, Zoran Modvaj and Dušan Gvozdenac. Dušan is the professor at the University of Novi Sad, and the Zoran was guy who was working at the University of Zagreb in 90s. It starts with integration of energy with activity flow charts. It is the basis for the decision on setting up the network of energy cost centers. It is completely in line with the ISO 50001, that is the story about energy auditing and energy management systems. What is hidden behind? It provides methodological approach for connecting people and activities and then energy use in buildings. Different energy or different performance indicators were selected. One that I'm willing to mention today with you, and I'm really proud that we are using that one, is so-called energy performance coefficient. It is the ratio of actual to predicted or benchmark energy consumption. For instance, imagine that you are driving a car, and the information that which you see on the screen, which is telling you that you are driving 50 kilometers per hour, is a good information regarding the traffic control. But that information regarding the energy efficiency is not providing you enough information. Even the fuel consumption is not providing you enough information. But if we are capable to provide you information, how much is your current performance of driving a car, how it is related to your average performance on that road, that is useful information, and that is hidden in this energy performance coefficient. Data environment analysis is a completely different story. It is a non-parametric method based on postulates of mathematical programming. It is used to compare different decision-making units, which are alternatives. And it is used in situations where it's not possible to explicitly express mathematically express the relationship between different units or different objects in this context. According to the literature, it can be implemented on a set of comparable business entities belonging to the same sector. And what we have done. In our case, we implement both methods on selected set of elementary school and kindergarten in the northwestern part of Slovenia. The idea was to help energy manager to define or to decide where to start with implementation of energy efficiency measures. On this slide you may see that the network which was the result of implementation of energy cost center-based modeling. Point of interest in our case was the electricity consumption. Just imagine the situation: the guy was put on a position, and he had to decide where to start, what to, and decide about energy efficiency measures in 17 different objects. We helped him to implement the energy cost center-based modeling, design different objects in the network, identify appropriate context of electricity use in different elementary schools and different kindergartens. For instance, what this context mean? In certain schools and certain kindergartens, electricity is used for the ventilation, for heating, and also for cooking meals for the children. In other schools, it is not used for that. In other schools, but it is used for the hot water preparation. Then we compared the different classical regression analysis, and also we calculated the energy performance coefficient for all those objects that we have analyzed. Based on that, we have identified, for example, that energy cost center 4 is the best one, and the energy cost center 5 is the worst one. But we were not able to quantify the relationships between many other things, and we were not able to identify which is actually the best one in the group. For that we use the data envelopment analysis, and that analysis revealed that actually the fourth energy cost center is actually the best one, and we have identified which other cost centers can be compared between each other, which are belonging to the same context, and what good practices from one cost center can be compared and implemented in other. That was really valuable for us. For instance, those two cost centers that I mentioned are actually neighboring high schools, neighboring elementary schools. The different contexts were actually the building manager, the guy who is operationally taking care about those two buildings. One is very enthusiastic and young and hardly working. The other one is basically waiting for the retirement. As a conclusion, whenever it goes for performance monitoring, it is learning through people's performance. What we have realized is when we are speaking about the assessment of buildings, energy performance of buildings, yes, we definitely need a combination of different methods and tools. We have realized that the introduction of that dynamic and context-sensitive indicator help us a lot in properly identifying a situation which can be compared. But you know that the biggest mistake you can make is when you try to compare apples with oranges. If two things are not comparable, the conclusions will be wrong, definitely. And that is also very, very important when we are speaking about modeling building energy performance, is how to incorporate the knowledge and correctly interpret different values of key performance indicators. Promotion of energy awareness definitely requires a significant amount of time, efforts, and experience. The barrier that we have discovered in our work on the operational level when we are speaking about implementation energy efficiency measures is the fear of change. Why to change things that were working properly or thinking that they are working properly for many, many years. What was the key ingredient of our work? Just remember what I said at the beginning, lack of data was our starting point. At the end, we have realized that the honest relationship between the energy efficiency expert and the building manager was the key ingredient of our success. Thank you very much for your presentation, and I'll be glad to answer to any of your questions, if there is any, of course. Thank you very much.